As Patrick Brooks here from the Heavy Underground Farm Report. Today we've got an interview with Matt Watkins from Momovudu. Matt, formerly of WoFat, has a new project. Momovudu released an album last month. It cracked on the Doom charts at number 25. Probably should have been higher. Got my number one vote because this album fucking kicks ass. So check out our interview with Matt Watkins of Momovudu. Yeah! Patrick Brooks from the Heavy Underground Farm Report. And today we've got Matt from Momovudu. I'm super stoked to have Matt here today. Matt, his new project, Matt is was part of a legendary band, WoFat, that I'm sure you're all familiar with. Matt's got a new project, Momovudu, out of Kansas City. Their new album dropped last month. Fucking great. It got my number one vote on the Doom charts. I absolutely love it. Matt, thanks for joining us, man. I really appreciate having you here. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
You bet, bud. Well, so Momovudu is Matt and Nate Kiersey, who's on bass. I hope I was saying Nate's last name, and Brent Richards on drums. A massive, heavy rhythm section along with Matt. But Matt, you had a big week, buddy. Let's start with the biggest news that happened for you this week. And you guys signed to Argonauta Records this week. So do you want to just lay that out for me? What does that mean for your band, like in the immediate future?
Well, I've got a dog invading me right now.
Oh, that's the best, man.
It's excellent for the band, of course. We're really happy. Jiro's been awesome, and it's been in the works for a while. When we first got out of the studio, I started sending copies of the music to different people, and I talked to several different record companies, and his was one, and just kind of hit it off. He had the right terms and everything else, and so it takes a while to plan these things, even though it seems like we just came right out of the box. We've been planning it for some time, but yeah, he's got a strong presence in Europe, which for me is important. When I first started this band, I was like, one of the things that I want to do is make sure that we can go, hopefully at some point once a year for a European tour, because it's important for the fan base there is very strong, for our type of music. So
yeah, it's a little different there. It's like I look at the crowds and it's like, oh dang, we don't necessarily get that here.
Yeah, Americans don't go out so much. We're more Netflix and at home types, I think. The venues there treat you, and I don't want to say anything bad about venues here, but the venues are very, very helpful there. The way that the load in, the food, it's easier. You're not going to get rich or whatever, but it's easier
Sure.
to make your ends meet. And
right on.
Your merch probably does a little better and all that kind of stuff. So it's important as a business aspect for us to hit the European market. And then since we live in Kansas City, we can get anywhere. I mean, weekend warrior, and I mean, the 12-hour drive, we're anywhere. So
I used to work for Sprint, so I spent a lot of time in Kansas City, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me, so Argonauta Records is based in in Italy?
Yep.
Italy?
Genoa.
Excellent. So that would be great. I wanted to ask you guys about signing, if that meant festivals for you coming up this summer, or if you guys had maybe a tour in mind.
Right now, we're just kind of doing as much as we can on the weekends, and I figure it's going to be a little bit hard to get into festivals for the summer. Most of those are planned.
Sure.
So it's probably going to be the year after, I would guess. But if you're out there and you're a promoter and you're looking for a band for the summer, we're game.
It'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So are you guys?
Go
ahead. I'm sorry.
I think a lot of people are just now starting to become aware of us. So,
how are you? Matt, my apologies for continually interrupting you there. I'm sorry, bud. You guys have some local shows coming up, right?
Let's see. We're playing. What is it? The 10th? So we're playing the 10th with. That is Hooded Grave, Orphans of Doom, and Godzillionaire. And we're playing the 18th. No, that's in Texas. Playing in Texas on the 18th, and then we're playing, I think the 24th at the Replay Lounge in Lawrence. Yeah. So
Oh, excellent, man. I caught a little video of you guys playing live. I think you guys posted it last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was excellent. You guys, the translation from your record live, was really nice. Do you have I know you guys just have the one record. Are you playing the whole record? Are you guys playing some new stuff? I mean, I'm kind of, so let me just put it this way, man. I'm kind of curious. You guys just saw, I know you've been working on the record deal for a long time, but you just cut a record. You got a record deal now. You guys are going to distribute on vinyl. Do you have a new record planned already? Is that in the works or something you're talking about?
We're actually recording in January when we play our Texas gig. We're going back to Kent's studio. So we do have new stuff, but we're trying to keep ourselves from doing new material live because, again, for almost everybody, they've never even heard the first. And so,
Yeah, yeah.
and I told the guys, we're going to get sick of playing everything, but we have to now because if we start playing the new material now, when we do a 2026 release, it's going to be really old to us and we're going to be burned
Sure.
out on that new album. So,
Sure, you've got to be excited about the material that you're playing right now, though. The album is thrilling, it's fantastic. Um, so is oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought there. So are you guys in the studio in January then?
yeah, after the gig, the Sunday after that, we're going, Kent from Wofat, old friend of mine. So I met him at Crystal Clear because we all went to North Texas back in the day and we all played in bands in Dallas and whatnot. And then I would go record at Crystal Clear. It was the big studio,
Okay.
So he was the engineer back then. So that's how we met. And then we just became really good friends. By 2004 or so, he sent me some riffs, He's like, man, I'm working on this new band. Check this out. And I was like, and I was living in Kansas City already at the time. I was like, fuck me, dude. I'm coming down.
Right on.
Didn't have a chance. I was like, I'm joining Wofat. I was like, what's the name of the project? And I go, I'm in. Is that cool? He's like, yeah, that's cool. So I went down there and I tried to keep it going. And it was maybe 6 months. It was, it's ridiculous driving down there. And at the time I had a horse business, a lot of horses and stuff. So I literally was getting up and driving down, doing practice and driving back. So that's, 16 hours on the road plus the jam.
Yeah, man.
To get it done in one day. And I just said, I can't do it. So I got like 4 or 5 songs on the album recorded on the very first Wofat album. And I just was a dad on a farm for years. Totally put my guitars up and didn't play.
Okay.
Always kept in touch with Kent. He was one of my very best friends, actually. So, and watching their career. And then later I rejoined for some tours. But whenever I record, no matter what it is, I go to Crystal Clear. And Kent's my engineer. And I don't want to tell anybody else through studios, whatever. I've worked with the guy for 30 years, And if you've heard a Wofat album, you kind of understand what I'm talking about. The guy knows his way around a studio,
man,
and his equipment, and he's responsible for getting the tones on the album. I sound the way I sound, and he pulled everything, and he mastered it. He's brilliant, really.
So I will tell you. So I think we talked just briefly before we came on, and I listened to your album several times before I learned anything about you, or the recording process, or who you were, or any of your names or anything. And then I was so impressed with the album. I started doing the research, and I found out that Kent was involved, and you had been in Wofat. And then the sound made a lot of sense to me, and why I liked it so much, because Wofat was an instant, like, part of my conversion to stoner rock, fandom. So
Cool.
his influence is felt there, but it definitely doesn't sound like a Wofat album. I mean, there's some influence, but you definitely, man, I feel like you've like really interjected your own personality. But like, there's a song in particular called "The Hall" that I really like. Hang on, Matt, just a second, buddy. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Hello? Can I hear you, Matt? Can I hear you, Matt?
Yeah.
I can hear you, Matt. All right, y'all. I don't know if you're getting this or not, but I have Matt back. We were talking about I can't. We were talking about the song. I believe we were talking about the song "The Hall." Do you want to like talk about like your recording or writing process for that song? I really like that one, man.
Who can explain writing? I'm
I
a weird writer. I write like all the time. Like I have literally hundreds and hundreds of riffs or complete songs. It's crazy. Like in a week, I can do two or three, but I don't know where they come from. So when I start something, then I just kind of hear what's coming next, and that's how I write a song. I have no idea.
do you just like get your guitar out, man, and turn on the record button and record most of what you're just playing and just jam around?
Many songs I literally use my voice recorder, just hit record, and I will improvise writing a song right there. And then a good portion of that, if not all of it, winds up being in a song.
Really? That's cool.
It's
So you
it's
just
it's not. I have no idea how it really happens. You know, it's just like,
is it something that never stops in your head?
yeah, I'm kind of a weird. I've always been, you know, I can just write something for no reason. I don't know, just a melody or whatever.
That's cool. You talked about being in the horse business. So I'm assuming you're in a more rural area. Do you think it doesn't sound like you're sitting in a cubicle for 9 hours a day? Do you think the type of work that you do allows you to have time to think about music and do you think that adds to your creativity?
That's a good question. I'm usually just stressed when I'm working, but yeah, no, I like to do outside work. I do construction, so yeah, I'm not in the horse business anymore. But yeah, that is good. You know, I work in silence. I never thought of that. And since I only listen to music on vinyls, I don't like listen to music when I drive or anything. So
Really?
I've lived many years in silence until I get home, and then when me and my wife get together in the evening, we have a little wine and start the vinyl rolling.
Do you guys like the same kind of music?
Oh my God, yeah, she's like she knows way more about music. I was getting a music degree, and she knows more about music than I do by far. I think she's like that in books. She's
Awesome.
really well versed. But yeah, we're huge jazz heads and old Motown and
Oh, excellent. So do
yeah.
you so that's interesting that you're in a really heavy hard rock band and you listen to jazz. Do you think there's like does that any of that translate to you? Do you think you're influenced by the music that you listen to, or when you play your own music, is that just a different world for you?
No, I think I'm hugely influenced by Joe Henderson. You know, actually in the way I play sometimes, but not as much as, for instance, maybe Jimmy Page or somebody else from my past. You know, I was listening to some Richie Blackmore the other day. I never really considered him a huge influence on my playing. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I phrase a lot like him on this, and like him on that, and or I'll hear a Vivian Campbell run or something. I'm like, oh, I remember learning that, and I've got some of that in me. So yeah, that
Yeah.
stuff creeps out. You can't get rid of it.
That's pretty cool. That's cool because I'm not a musician. So, yeah, so songs that you may have learned years and years ago, may those influences may subtly like work their way into your riff catalog.
Yeah, I mean, the ones you learn for sure do. And then I think just the ones you listen to, like, I don't know that I've ever learned note for note any Richie Blackmore. And
That's
I
interesting.
don't know that I've just like listened to him as much as, certainly not a tenth as much as Jimmy Page but it's weird. You notice these things. You're like, well, I picked up something that, or we both, picked it up somewhere, but we phrase a lot alike in certain areas.
That's cool. So, in that way, in that manner, you're working with two other guys in your band. How do you share the writing responsibilities? Does the rhythm section take part in that, or do you kind of bring your ideas to them and they work around what you want to do?
Well, the first album was pretty much stuff that I came up with, but like everything that we do as a band. It's Momovudu. It's not just me. And
Cool.
Nate also has a lot of grooves. Like on the second album that we're gonna do, he'll be doing singing and written a lot of grooves. He adds a lot to songs. Brent's got a lot of input too. So it's like we're definitely a three-piece. We're all three crazy, and we're all three in different directions, and it gels somehow for us.
How'd you guys pull it together? How'd you guys meet?
I put an ad up after the last WOFAT tour because it looked like there was going to be a little hiatus, little time, down. And I was itching to play. I was like, I want to get something going. So I put an ad out, and this dude answered, and then this other guy put an ad out, and I answered his. Well, it was the same guy. I answered his ad, he answered my ad, and we got to playing together, and something just clicked, rhythmically. And then we tried a few different bass players, and then we landed on Nate, and it was just like, that was it, We knew it was perfect when Nate was there. So the chemistry is good, and that's what's rare is getting the chemistry, right in a band. That's so hard to do, and have guys that can show up on time and, be professionals when we go gig. Everybody from promoters to soundmen like professionals instead of, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I got good guys with me as far as that goes.
No, I'll tell you, one of the things I enjoy about the stoner doom scene is that bands show up and play on time, and I get to go home at a reasonable hour, and I'm not waiting until 3:00 in the morning for some drunk guy to finally stumble on stage. So appreciate that about you guys and the professionalism. That's nice. So do you guys all have, like, you come, you're talking a lot about your jazz influence that you listen to at home, and that's important to you. Did your band members come from similar backgrounds, or are they rock and roll guys? Or I know there's a lot of, punk rock influence in the Kansas City scene, and different, metal is, and there's lots of stuff going on there.
Yeah. Well, I like, we talked, I was jazz trained. Brent also was jazz trained drummer. So he's got a lot of different influences. And then Nate was trained all over the place, but he's definitely got a punk thing about him, but he's so tight, like, and technical and precise in the way he plays. So the groove's there, the feel is there. And so, yeah, I'm not really sure as far as, I haven't read music in probably 30 years. So, but we don't have to in this band. We're more, and we're kind of a jam band too. So we'll come up with a riff, and if we like stuff, we just kind of see where it goes. And that's what's part of the writing process is, where do we go? How do we jam this out?
Yeah, man, I love that about your band, and I'm a fan of, like, longer songs. So when you guys move into that 6-7 minute realm, it's super enjoyable for me, I should say. Cool. I know you guys I just wanted to talk about this for sure. You guys have pre-orders on your vinyl released today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. How can what's the best way for people to get a hold of it? I mean, I know the best way for me to do it was because I did it right away. I was like, oh, it's finally on sale. Boom, I gotta go buy that. So I got one of there's a special edition, right? It's called the Face Edition.
Yeah, I think right? I can't remember the name, but yeah, and it had all the extra, the guitar picks and the
Get on that, people. There's only 100 of those.
So yeah, and yeah, I'm pretty stoked on the color. I'm such like I grew up in the punk scene, so I'm like Minor Threat, Fugazi type guy. I was talking to my wife about it, and I was like, I want the album to be black. And I talked to Jiro about it. He's like, no, black doesn't sell.
I know it's weird when I get a black album now. It's like, ooh, exotic.
Yeah, I know. Someday I'm going to do a 180 gram black album. I'm telling you. But Nate said, green, and like I said, Momovudu's Democratic, so we all go, because when it first started, I threw black out there, and Brent was like, black, I'm down with that. So Nate was, he was out in the corner, but my first choice was green, and then whenever we said it again, Nate said green, so we went with that, and we found that cool cloud thing, and I gotta say, I'm pretty stoked. I can't wait to see it. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, right on, man. So it is a stoner rock scene, and man, well, I might smoke a little weed myself. Do you think there's got to be some sort of marketing advantage to using that color? Was that any of the thought process? Or did you guys just think it looked cool?
Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we're kind of in that realm, right? I mean,
sure.
And we're in a country now that it doesn't matter if you're left or right or in between. Everybody's like Yeah, get high. It's
Absolutely.
whatever.
Yeah.
So for us, we're kind of leading the way in that for the rest of the world. Hopefully, it won't be so draconian in some other countries, but every little protest you get, it's good to have a green album. And then I saw that cloud, color, that like whatever they call it, cloud burst or something. I was like, yeah, we got to get that one. It's like a
Sweet.
lava lamp or something.
I love it, man. Well, hey, one of the things that I've really been stoked about you guys being involved in is the Midwest Doom Coalition. Shane and Lance out there. I know Randall from Buzzard Fight have been working to get bands to work together to kind of increase everybody else's exposure. What do you think about that? Like, I mean, it's kind of exciting for me. It's like, it's cool to see bands working together. So what are your thoughts?
I think it's great. When I'm such like a socialist in the respect of like unions and how they gave us the 40-hour work week.
Yeah, but
getting people together and keeping unions strong so that people aren't overworked like we are in this country, I think many times. But I'd kind of talked about doing something like this for musicians, just to, hey, share information. This club does this, or this club is great and we can help you book there. And when I found out that they were that is kind of their intent here with I joined immediately. I think it's awesome.
right on.
Yeah, good on them. And, I've met a lot of other bands because, like I said, we're trying to get out on weekends. If I can get to Chicago and then Detroit and then back home the next day, or, get to Denver and then Vegas and then back home, or Albuquerque or something like that, then I want to do it. And so I'm able to meet bands through that. And I've made some contacts. So it's awesome.
That's awesome. I am super impressed with what those guys are doing. It's good for the bands. It's good for the fans. I'm glad you guys are involved in that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just had a question on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, I'm gonna stall there. So I'd love to see you guys in Denver. Is there any? I think we talked briefly about that. Serge, any chance you guys coming out here?
Yeah. In fact, I forgot her name right now, unfortunately.
Amanda Menard. We're going to give Amanda Menard a shout out.
Correct.
4130 Management. Hey, Amanda.
And when I was talking about going out, it was a little bit too early for booking then, but I'm getting ready to contact her probably after the first of the year. We're shooting for February or March for Denver, and I'd like to hit Albuquerque.
Yeah.
We're definitely trying. My daughter lives in Austin, and we used to live in Austin, and I would like to hit there after a Dallas gig. And like I said, Memphis, anything. We're such perfectly positioned in this country to go to so many big cities. And it's a drive to get there, but we can definitely do it in a day.
Yeah, man. I'd love to see, man. You guys would fit in perfectly down with the Ripple Fest thing. I don't know if that's all booked up, but
I'm sure it probably is, but I would love to play that again. I mean,
Ryan. So the last thing I really wanted to talk about, and it kind of ties in with the Midwest Doom Coalition, and like Matt, you and I talked about, we're kind of older dudes, and we're not like necessarily like really, the most technical guys out there probably. Like marketing is done through social media now. Like, how do you feel about that? Like. I mean, there's got to be some advantages and disadvantages, but like overall, like I'm just curious about what your opinion of that is.
It just is what it is. Like I'm not a fan. I haven't been a Facebook person. Like on my personal site, I don't hardly ever go there.
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
But on Momovudu, I'm trying to stay really active. It's all about algorithms and all that stuff. Plus, I mean, when we get support, I like to make contact with people that go out of their way to say, hey man, I dig your band or whatever. So
I've
got some cool people, and it's always great when you get to go to a town and they're there and you get to meet. Yeah, I remember talking to you or whatever. So it's got its advantages, it makes it easier for the guerrilla that's willing to get out there and work hard, but you definitely have to use it or you don't move forward.
Yeah, man. I will tell you, I'm glad you guys are using it. Because of your involvement with social media, I found your album pretty quickly. You guys released it without being signed to a record label. There wasn't a lot of fanfare involved in the release. And it's, that album stands up on the strength of the music. But yeah, man, I mean, it's really interesting that I wasn't even on Facebook 3 years ago. Like, my Facebook account's 2 years old. I was like, why would you even want to do that? But yeah, the world's changed a lot, and this is kind of like how we share our music now. So I'm glad you guys are involved in that.
Yeah, it's a trip. Actually, who's responsible for kind of our whatever rise we've had since November 3rd, when I just dumped it at, like, I don't know, we played a couple of gigs and they were okay gigs. Nobody was there. Met some cool bands, and came back. I was like, oh, hell with it. I'm going to dump this out there so it'll help us get some more gigs. And it was like Sunday night. And then I think it was the next morning, I got an email from somebody called, I think it's Adam Walsh from Doom Charts or something.
Yeah. Do you know about the Doom Charts, man? Are you familiar? Oh, dude, did I just hang up on you? Are you there? Can you hear me, Matt?
Yep. You got me?
Cool. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No,
I was like, why is my phone talking? Oh.
But yeah, did you hear the Adam Walsh part?
One more time. I'm sorry.
So yeah, like I put the album out there. It was like a Sunday night, November 3rd or something like that. And then Adam Walsh contacted me.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. He's scouring Bandcamp or something. I have no idea. And then he's like, hey, do you mind if I, send some Bandcamp codes out to some people or whatever? I was like, yeah, go ahead. So I sent him some. Next thing I know, it just, like, every day it started getting a review,
Yep.
Desert Cyclist, you got involved, a lot of people, and just, I was like,
yeah, that's how I heard your album too, man. Like, it's like this mysterious little world, man. You're part of it now.
It means a lot to grow organically like that, though. That's a trip, like, no PR. So it's like, well, that's cool, because you never know if you're an artist and you put something out and people are like, yeah, okay,
What's cool about it from my standpoint, from a fan standpoint, Bud, is that I get to be the one that judges if it's good or not. It's like I get to be the one that decides. It's not some 3-piece suit guy. It's some head of some gigantic record corporation who's decided that I'm going to listen to. God, I don't know anything popular. I'm not going to embarrass myself by throwing out a popular name that's like 13 years old. But yeah, man, I'm like, just seriously, absolutely blown away by your album, man. I'm looking forward to the future of your band. Your signing with the record company is huge for all of us who are fans of your band. I know it's huge for you guys too. Hey, Bud, is there anybody you want to, like, say hi to or give a shout out to or promote a show or whatever you want to do, man? I'm going to give you a couple minutes to just say whatever you want to say, Bud.
I always have to involve Nate and Brent because, they're the backbone. They're every bit as responsible as I am for the band. So, it's the three of us. I happen to be usually doing some of the social media. Nate's does more the Instagram, because I don't even have Instagram. I'm such a Luddite. I don't have Instagram on my phone.
Dude, I suck on Instagram. I get it.
So, but I know that's like, but yeah, I mean, the guys should always be involved, but they're cool. Things work the way they are on a work night and whatnot.
Right on.
Yeah, those dudes are awesome, and I can't say enough good about Kent. If you're anywhere around the Dallas area, and you want to record, or if you're not anywhere around the Dallas area and you want to sound really good, I would go to Crystal Clear, because it can make your band just sounds so incredible. He can just pull the tones out. So
he certainly worked magic on your record, man. It's fucking awesome.
I call him
yeah, man. Well, hey, Bud, let's keep in touch, and I'd love to have the whole band on at some point. I'm looking forward to your next stuff. I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to see you guys. If you guys need anything from me, man, you know where to get a hold of me, Bud.
Yeah, likewise, man. We dig your show, and keep at it, and hope to talk to you soon.
Right on, Matt. Well, hey, Bud, thanks for helping me fight through the technical difficulties.
Yeah.
It's our most adventurous interview we ever had, technically. So, except maybe the one where I did with Shane and Lance, and I just have half their faces for the whole video. So sorry about that. But hey, man, you have a great night. I will talk to you soon. If you could hang on for 1 second, I'm going to shut down the broadcast. This is S. Patrick Brooks for the Heavy Underground Farm Report. We were super happy to have Matt from Momovudu. Thanks again, Matt. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, man. Hang on 1 sec, bud.
All right.
All right, I think I stopped. Hey, man, thank you so much, bud.
Yeah, it was fun, dude.
It was absolutely fun. I would love to talk to you again sometime. Sorry about the technical.
Yeah!